What's going on, everybody? I am back with another episode of my What If Pokemon Were in Monster Hunter series, and I honestly think these redesigns I did here might just be some of the best ones yet. So kick back and relax and let's get this vid going. Now, as you can see, I'm starting off here with Hisuian Arcanine from the Legends of Arceus game. Personally, I didn't play that game. My old roommate, I watched them play through some of it, so I'm not super familiar with Hisuian Arcanine. I know, it's a rock fire type, and it's just the regional form of the OG Arcanine. And the reason that I actually chose Hisuian over normal is just because I felt like I had more to work with this Pokemon's design. That's just something I feel like in general. Even though I personally, for like the Pokemon games, I prefer the earlier Pokemon and their designs because of the simplicity of them, and I just think that style was perfect. Whereas now I feel like there's a little bit too much going on. They're too detailed, but I will say they are easier to translate when I'm doing stuff like this and converting them to Monster Hunter style, just because there's just more to their design. So like I don't have to imagine up quite as many things, or take as many what's the word I'm looking for? I just don't have to make up as much stuff, on the spot here. So some of the things I really want to make sure that I nailed here with Hisuian Arcanine's design was, if you look on the Pokemon, it has like those little swirls there with like around like the jaw and the tail and the ankles, the back ankles. So I felt like it'd be cool if I kind of took the like rocky armor sort of plated scaling there, and like as you can see like on the jaw, and you'll also see on the heel later, but then the tail too, I try to incorporate that into the design with just like the way the scales would look. I actually think it turned out pretty cool. It was actually really satisfying, kind of laying all the different armor plates in there and just having them kind of fit in almost like like chain link armor or something. It was actually enjoyable to do. And then also like around the collar there, that's one of like the main design points there of Hisuian Arcanine. So I figured it could kind of just be like a cool, just like large sort of scales that would kind of flare out like as like an intimidation thing, similar to like a Seregios or something, where whenever it engages in combat, it'll flare those the collar scales. We could just call them that, the collared scales, kind of flare them out, and even like the ones on the back and everything. Even similar to kind of like how Zinogre is, which is what you saw. That's kind of the main Monster Hunter creature that I used as a design point for this one. So like even like Zinogre, when it becomes enraged and everything, like even its sort of like scales kind of like the hair and like the horns and everything kind of flare out. So I just figured that'd be kind of cool. If Hisuian Arcanine was in Monster Hunter, that'd be like a cool thing that it would do. So now you can see here, I'm just laying in the colors. Sometimes what I'll do when I'm designing these, because like Pokemon, their color palette's very limited, I didn't want to make like the gray scales the same color as those stripes. So you can actually see I slightly changed the stripe color to like a cool bluish gray, because I just thought that would contrast well against the orange, and just so it wouldn't be the same color as those scales. Because like one of the important things to do is like let's just call them, so like the scales are one aspect of the creature, and then the stripes are a totally different thing. I don't want them to be the same exact color. You want to vary it, because it just wouldn't really, I just feel like it wouldn't really make sense. Like why would this hard material of a scale be the same color as stripes? So it's just something to kind of vary the design, just add a little bit of extra complexity, if you want to call it that. But yeah, as you can see, I'm just about wrapping up the design here. I really like the way the tail turned out too, though. I gotta say, it looks like almost like a fossil type of thing, and I feel like that'd be like a badass like hammer, like as a weapon for this thing. Like that, it could even be converted into like how the shield for like a lance user or something would be, or even like sword and shield. So that'd be pretty cool. But so here you can see this is the completed entry here for Hisuian Arcanine, the legendary wyvern. I also added a little bit extra flavor text here on this. I'm going to end up doing that just to give it a little bit extra, you know, pizzazz or detail here. So it's a magnificent wyvern draped in hard stone-like scales that it flares out to intimidate opponents. It coats its fangs in searing hot flames when attacking. Monster class Fanged Wyvern, element fire. Ailments are Fire Blight and Blast Blight, and weakness is water. So that'll be it for this one, and now we will move on to the next redesign of this video. Alright, and now I am doing Galarian Zapdos, who's probably one of my top 10 favorite Pokemon designs of all time. I remember when the trailer was unveiled for the Sword and Shield expansion. What was it, the Crown Tundra, right? I think it was called. When they showed off the 3 legendary bird redesigns, that was like the best shit ever, man. I think all of them, all 3 of the trio, got better designs with the Galar region. But Zapdos is my favorite. Zapdos is already my favorite for the OG legendary birds, but Galarian Zapdos, dude, I just love it so much. I will say though, I think Moltres probably got the biggest glow up, just because, man, OG Moltres is basically just rubber chicken. When you realize that, it kind of kills the design. So when they came out with Galarian Moltres, it was a huge upgrade, I would say. But even though it was the biggest upgrade, Galarian Zapdos I'd say is my favorite overall, just because it's like this giant chocobo, you know, edgy looking, you know, badass. I like the fact that, you know, it's like you know, it's flightless now, basically, you know, kind of like a Roadrunner. I think that's what they pretty much used for reference, the Pokemon, whoever designed it on the Pokemon team, which, you know, I like that. It's pretty cool. So obviously, since its legs were kind of like the main design point for Zapdos, I kind of wanted to make sure I emphasize that here for Monster Hunter, and didn't just give it like these regular like chicken legs. I wanted to kind of give it these beefy, heavily scaled dinosaur-like legs, just so it can fit more into Monster Hunter, because you don't want to make just this generic-looking bird, right? So there was, I mean, honestly, there wasn't really a whole lot I had to kind of change here or come up with for this design. It was really just sticking true to it, and, you know, just adding more detail and making it look a little bit more kind of realistic. Nothing too crazy there. I really like the way this one turned out though, but it could just be because, like I said, I love Galarian Zapdos a lot. I think it's sick. In terms of Monster Hunter, like, this would be, since it's like a Roadrunner, right? It's going to be a very hectic, fast-paced, you know, just going all over the place. So it would kind of dwell in these like open savannas or like wasteland type of areas. And like for the battle, you know, what you would want to do is damage the legs to slow it down. So like you could break the head, break the wings, break the tail. Can't cut off the tail because, you know, it's just feathers. But yeah, you would definitely want to target the legs first to bring it down and kind of slow it down and everything, because that would be its primary attack also, because in Pokemon that's what it does. It has like its signature move is Thunderous Kick. I think, can it also learn Blaze Kick too? Which I think it can. I think my Zapdos had Blaze Kick on it, which is dope. So obviously in Monster Hunter, that would kind of be its primary thing that it would attack you with, would be those big ass claws on its legs. Also its beak, you know, it would peck the shit out of you. So yeah, just, you can see here I'm just kind of laying in the rest of the line work, and going throwing all the shading and everything, which, if you're new here and you don't know what my techniques are, I do a flats layer, a colored flats layer, and then for like shading, I do a layer above the flats, set it to multiply, turn down the opacity probably about 60%, use like a coolish blue-gray color, and then for the highlights I just do an overlay layer, usually same 60 to 70% opacity, use like a light yellowish color for the highlights. But here you can see the completed card for Galarian Zapdos, the Thunderous Sprinter. A little flavor text bio for you. A bird wyvern capable of running at incredible speeds. Its feathers produce a crackling static energy that can paralyze those who dare attack it. This defiant monster uses its powerful legs and razor-sharp talons to bring down prey. Monster class bird wyvern, element none, ailments paralysis and stun, and weakness is ice. So with this one out of the way, let's get on to the final redesign of the video here. Okay, so here you can see I'm working on Koraidon, who was the legendary Pokemon from Scarlet, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the latest generation. Also, I would say the worst mainline games from the Pokemon franchise ever. Don't get me going on that shit. Terrible games. Anyways, so as you can see, I'm figuring out how I want to do the design. First off, I was starting with like a Brute Wyvern kind of reference point first, just because it's the Pokemon's bipedal. But I didn't like the way it was turning out, so then as you can see, I ended up using like Great Jagras, or more of like that thing, or even like a Kolv Taroth type of body style for this one. And then once I started fleshing that out, I really liked the way this one started going, so I just ended up sticking with that and started throwing on all the details and everything from there. I really think that this one turned out to maybe be the best looking redesign I've done in terms of how it looks like it fits into Monster Hunter. I used to think the Swampert I did like many videos ago was probably like one of the best looking redesigns I did to really fit into Monster Hunter style, but after I finish with this one, you'll see, like, I just think that it fits perfectly, just because, you know, like I said earlier, the modern Pokemon designs, even though they don't look so much like Pokemon anymore, the fact that they have so much to them, there's so much detail and everything to work with, it just translates so much better into Monster Hunter, because there's just so many little details and cool things that you can come up with. So like, as you can see, he's got like all the feathers on the head, and then like the hind quarters, and then like those antenna looking things, and then like the big like one of the main design things of Koraidon is like that throat tire looking thing, because, you know, it's like basically like a vehicle, you know, like an ancient vehicle type of thing. So I kind of incorporated that, since, like, you know, lizards have like that big old display kind of frill sack thing on their throat. I mean, that, you know, that kind of worked perfectly there. Yeah, and just all those all the extra scaling and everything. I think probably you'll see. I mean, if you can't already see it now, I think this one ends up being like the most Monster Hunter looking Pokemon that I've done so far. I really like the way this one turned out. Even though I hate the Scarlet and Violet games, I do like Koraidon's design a lot. I think it's a really cool looking creature. So yeah, I'm glad I actually did this one. So as you can see here, just throwing in all the colors and everything like that. Basic shit, you know. Again, with the colors, because like on Koraidon, there's like that blue on kind of like its shoulder pad looking thing, or I guess those are kind of, I don't know what those are supposed to be. Like the kind of spikes on the shoulders there, and then also it has blue on like the back of its neck, but then also in the feathers it has blue too. So I kind of wanted to, like I said earlier when I was doing Hisuian Arcanine, how I don't want to have the like rock hard scaling the same color as something like feathers or fur stripes or whatever. You want to vary it, because it's not the same material, you know. This is feathers. I don't want them to be the exact same color as the scales. So you can see I kind of used a deeper, like a little bit more purplish blue, and I just thought it would blend better in the feathers, because it transitions into that pinkish purple, into the white. So yeah, that's kind of the decision I made doing that. And as you can see here, just throwing in all the shading and everything. I don't know if you're somebody who has like a keen eye for art, like you would, and you've been sticking through all my videos, you'll actually notice that my shading technique, I'm doing a lot more just straight up cell shading style now, with like hard shading, versus some of the previous designs where I did like more gradient or soft brush strokes and everything. I just kind of wanted to, I just like the way this is looking now, this style, so I think I'm going to stick with it for all my future designs. It's just a little bit cleaner and everything too. So here you can see is the completed piece for Koraidon, the Scarlet Wyvern. Monster class Elder Dragon, element Dragon, and fire. Ailments Fire Blight, weakness is Dragon. And since, like, if you don't know anything about the Pokemon, it's all about like sunlight and everything. Like it's its ability. Was it Orichalcum Pulse or some shit? So I wanted to kind of incorporate that into its design bio here, where like as you see, the Elder Dragon's body is perfectly designed to absorb maximum sunlight. It stores so much energy from the sun that it will radiate intense heat, scorching the surrounding area. So even though it's like a dragon element or a dragon type in Pokemon, I wanted to also incorporate the fire, just because like it's all about sunlight and everything, and I thought it'd be a cool thing for like the fight, where it's constantly absorbing sunlight throughout the fight and everything, and then it'll have like these giant a giant pulse of this like fiery energy that it lets out, that you'll kind of have to run away from, or else you get burned and everything. So that'll wrap up today's video. Do me a solid, if you like the video, hit that like button. If you're new here and you like the content I'm putting out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for me so you can be up to date with any future videos that I post. Also, if you have a Pokemon in mind that you really want to see me redesign for Monster Hunter, any super thanks donation of $10 or more to the channel, and I will be sure to draw that Pokemon redesign for you and post it up on the channel here. You don't have to pay. You can always feel free to leave comments down below of any suggestions, and I might get to it, but I'm just saying, for those who want to contribute a little extra and help me out, I'll be sure to do those designs for you. Also, if you want to own any of my art or anything, I'll put a link down below to my Redbubble shop where you can pick up some prints or designs for like t-shirts and such, where I'll put up some of my artwork from time to time. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.